weapon of a Jedi Knight. An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
Look, good against remotes is one thing. Good against the living, that's something else.
Take it. Find your friend.
We'll handle I will let nothing stand in our way.
Do or do not. There is no try. Now, fulfill your destiny.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
Ah. And that is where all of the budget went. Makes sense. So, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about and reviewing and giving my opinion about LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. The newest installment in the LEGO game franchise, the newest Star Wars game, and the game that's getting a lot of hype right now. It's kind of trending on TikTok and things like that. So I just wanted to talk about it. I wanted to talk about it because I've played it. Played through all the levels on the story. Except Revenge of the Sith. I haven't got there yet, but all of the other ones I have played. And I wanted to voice my opinion on the internet because that's where everybody voices their opinion. Because I haven't seen almost any negative things about this game, which is mind-boggling because, to put it bluntly, this game sucks. This game is bad. It's so lackluster that I can't believe anybody is saying that this is like the best LEGO game ever and a great installment in the LEGO franchise. I don't know how people are thinking that. So where do we even begin? I guess we begin at the top. Level design. Why does this game suck? It sucks because the level design is just not even there. It's not even there. This game consists of there are 5 levels per episode. And they're insanely short. Each level takes you about maybe 5 to 7 minutes to go through. Maybe 10 on average, 5 to 7, 10 at the max. And it's usually you kill maybe 5 enemies. You take your droid and unlock a terminal by rotating stupid things, and do like a minute of platforming where you're just prompted to click a button a couple times and possibly fight a boss. And then that's it, and then it's over, and then you go to the next one. It's a shell of its predecessors, LEGO Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars, LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga, this game is a shell of those ones when it comes to level design and other things. It's because in the other games, levels were longer and more complex. Granted, they weren't all that complex because it was a Lego game, but comparatively to this game, they were, I would say, infinitely more complex. A couple of the parts that make up the level design are the puzzles. The puzzles in this game are lazy and lackluster. Like I said, the puzzles in this game comprise of the terminal one that I explained prior, ones where you're prompted to click 4 buttons and that's it, and occasionally you push one thing, you push like one tall thing into place so you can jump on top of it, and that's about it. There's nothing like force pushing R2-D2 across a gap and then having you jumping to unlock a terminal so you get the crane and then you drop C-3PO up top so he can push off a box that can then be like a force opened by you and then building a bridge and there's nothing like that. There's nothing that complex. These puzzles are made for like newborn babies that have never seen a video game in their entire life. They're lazy. To put it bluntly, they're lazy. Next you have the combat system. The combat system is it's new, it's different. Overall, I'd say it's not that bad, but the things that are bad about it are the over-the-shoulder camera is not great. Putting your character in the very bottom left corner doesn't feel natural, and the camera feels too close. I might be a little nitpicky, but hey, whatever. The lightsaber combat is very fluid, and that's good, but you don't get to use the new combat system enough because they don't throw any enemies at you. They don't throw, like, you're on the Death Star. They don't throw you like 10, 12, 15 stormtroopers that are trying to get you off. They throw you maybe 3 because, the alarm sounded and only 3 were on duty at that point. All the others were on break. They clocked out for their 30-minute meal. They aren't allowed to go to an alarm sounding when they're off the clock. It's against the rules, so only the 3 that are filling in for the other guys are allowed to show up. You just don't get to use it enough. Which then in turn brings the difficulty down, because if you have bad puzzles and you don't have enough enemies, you have an easy Lego game. Which then also brings me to my next point is like the bosses. One of the main marketing points for this game was they're adding proper, quote unquote, proper boss battles. These aren't proper boss battles at all. These are bosses. The bosses look cool, and that's about it. You have a Captain Phasma boss where you literally just drop heavy things on her in The Force Awakens, and then she leaves, and then you see her in The Last Jedi and you drop more heavy things on her and she leaves. You never actually get to fight her. You're just dropping heavy things on her. You get a Darth Maul fight, which everybody is praising, But if you just repeatedly throw your lightsaber over and over and over, he freezes in place, and then you just stun lock him to death. These boss battles aren't difficult. They aren't. The difficulty is not on them at all. They are no more difficult than your average enemy that you see in the wild. Stormtrooper and Darth Maul are the same difficulty. You whack them about... It's just the Stormtrooper you hit 4 times. Darth Maul you hit like 10 to 11. And that's it. That's all that changes. But they have AoE attacks, and they have like charge attacks. Yeah, but it takes them like 12 years to do those things, and you see a big red and black, like, terribly textured circle or line on the ground that you could easily dodge. Or, you don't even have to dodge it, because you don't even get punished by getting hit by it. It takes maybe a quarter of your health off. So, it's just... doesn't matter. Then you have flying, which they revamped the flying system. I thought it looked great, but the flying controls are absolutely abysmal, because sometimes they give you the ability to barrel roll, and sometimes they don't. But when they give you the worst thing about it is they have like a GTA type thing where to speed up you have to hold a button. You have to hold on PS5 it's X. So if you're holding a controller normally, you have your thumb on X, you have your 2 pointer fingers on the triggers to right triggers to shoot, and then your left thumb is on the left stick to move around. Well, if you would like to do a barrel roll, you have to decelerate and do a barrel roll at -5 miles per hour. Though that's not good control layouts. And then people are gonna come in and be like, oh, why don't you just remap the controls? On average, if you have to remap the controls in order to have fun, or in order to, like, play, they're bad controls. Remapping controls should just be to do something you're more comfortable with. Not that you need to remap the control in order to actually, like, play. Or the other argument is, well, just play claw. Why do I need to play a competitive FPS controller using method in a fucking Lego game? Yeah, why? That sounds stupid. That sounds silly. They should have just... It looks like they took the controls from Star Wars Battlefront 2 and changed one thing. They could have just taken the controls for flying from Battlefront 2 and just used those, because those are the best flying controls I've seen in any game, period. Just use those and it would have been fine. Whereas if you move forward on the stick, you accelerate. And if you move back, you decelerate. And then if it's neutral, you're just at like a solid like 50% speed. You know, that's not a problem. I wouldn't have had a problem with that. That would have been perfect. I would have preferred that. But instead, you have to hold the X button to accelerate, which boggles my mind. So, you know, with all that being said, you have people that are trying to defend this game. I I wanted this game to be good. You know, I love Star Wars. I grew up watching Star Wars. My earliest memories are Star Wars. This game does the title of Star Wars bad. I don't want to hate this game. And I don't necessarily hate this game. It's just, I want this game to be good, and it's not. And people are not... People are blinded by the fact that it's a new Lego Star Wars game, I feel. And just because they see the word Lego and the word Star Wars, they're just like, oh, it's just as good as the original Saga. This is great. It's back in my life. But they totally ignore the factors of a good game. Or the factors of a good Lego game. They totally ignore that the level design of this game is lackluster. They totally ignore that the puzzles aren't there. The combat system is flawed. The bosses are bad. The flying system is abysmal. They totally ignore that one of the missions in The Last Jedi and one of the missions in The Phantom Menace are just following a person around for 5 minutes, not doing anything else. You just follow them, and then that's the mission. Like, I don't know what to say. And then you have people like this guy on Steam who has played a good amount, and he says it how it is. He says it how it is. It pains for him to write. I've been looking for this for years, and I'm not enjoying what they made for us. The levels are short. Few puzzles there are lackluster. Building is rare, if present at all. Difficulty is non-existent. Over-the-shoulder gunplay is repetitive, since troopers are just blaster sponges. This is a Lego game only in style and name. They spent so much time developing open exploration that they didn't give platforming and puzzle design the time and care it deserves. And they didn't even... I would go as far to say that they didn't even spend a lot of time developing open exploration, because you in this game you can go to any of the planets in the Star Wars saga, which is a great idea, but what you do there is just boring. You just see a bunch of people walking around, no enemies in sight, and you just get collectibles, and that's it. You just collect kyber bricks, and you collect data packs. And that's it. There's nothing else to do. Nothing cool. And I want to bring up this point right there. I understand this is a Lego game made for kids, but even the complete saga has abundance of puzzles and at least some difficult combat and platforming. This guy's right. I mean, it's a great transition. The main argument that people have against this game being bad are things like this guy. Difficulty is non-existent? Have you played the other Lego Star Wars games? Oh, the sort of gunplay is repetitive. Yet again, have you played the older Star Wars games? The difficulty was non-existent in the older Star Wars games too. As for you saying the new combat system is repetitive, at least it's fresh and better than the old combat system the other games had. The difficulty was there in the other games, I would say. It wasn't overly difficult because it was a Lego game, but, there was some difficulty there. There was some heart in that game. There was some sustenance there. People saying you're mad that your Lego game is not difficult? Like, no, I'm not mad that a little bit, yeah. I don't want it to be Elden Ring. I want it to be, I have to use my brain to play the game, not I can just stare at the wall and watch the paint dry while I play this game and have more enjoyment. It's following Luke around an island is like negative difficulty. Like, I don't know. It's mind-boggling. It's a kid's game. It's literally made for children, dumb fuck. That's another main argument. Lego games are more targeted towards children than me, the adult Star Wars fan. But, you know, children nowadays are more equipped than ever to handle what's the word I'm looking for? To be able to handle puzzles that actually make you think, and combat that's a tiny bit more difficult than the one here. Because children nowadays, as soon as they're like popped out of the womb, they're handed an iPad and said, alright, just go off and do whatever the hell you want with it. They play Call of Duty multiplayer at 3 years old. They play Fortnite at 3 years old. They're running around Apex shit-talking me while I die to them. Like, they're more equipped than I was because they've grown up playing video games. They know how to maneuver around a video game world. They know how to figure things out and use their head. We're not asking for Elden Ring type things. We're just asking for something to make you think, like the old game, like the other Lego games. And they didn't. They made a lullaby to lull me to sleep. And it makes me sad. So, yeah. That's gonna be it. If you agree, write something down in the comments. If you disagree, write something down in the comments. We can have a discussion. Not an argument where we call each other like dumb fuck and things like that, but an actual discussion I would like to see, because maybe someone has an actual argument for this game.
What the fuck? What the fuck is this? That is not funny. That is not, there's nothing.